Welcome back to Couch Collectibles. Today we are looking at some valuable Jefferson Nickels that you should always be on the lookout for. Some error nickels to look for in pocket change, some high graded coins, things of that nature. So let's just hop right into it and check out these nickels. Starting off with the 1977 Jefferson nickel. Now you can see here they made a no mint mark and a D mint mark for the business strikes, and they made hundreds of millions of those coins. Now first up here is a 1977 Jefferson nickel that was struck on a 1976 1 cent coin. So a 1 cent planchet, which means that this nickel was struck on a Lincoln penny, essentially. Now we can also see the design of the Lincoln Memorial building there on the reverse of this coin. So we see the Jefferson nickel design and the Lincoln penny design there on the back of the coin. So this one is definitely tricky. If you're going through your pocket change, it might look just like a regular nickel or an old nickel. So really inspect your coins up close. Get that USB coin microscope from couchcollectibles.com. This nickel sold for over $4,000. Now, moving on to a nickel that's sold on eBay. These are fairly common, I guess you could say common. They are cuds. So I found them. I mean, you definitely ain't gonna find them every day, but I found them. You can see that cud there right underneath the date on the right side of the coin. This nickel sold on eBay for a little over $35 as is. It hasn't been graded by a coin grading company. Next up is a 1977 that has the obverse indent struck on a 10 cent blank planchet. So we got two different things going on here. So we got the nickel that was essentially struck on a dime with the indent taking place here on this coin. Now this nickel, if you want to call it a nickel, sold for over $800. Here's a 1977 Jefferson nickel. Now it is solely valuable because of its high grade. It's graded at a mint state 66. Now this coin here sold for over $900. Again, another high grade, a 1977 D mint mark. It is solely valuable because of that mint state 67 grade. This nickel here sold for over $2,500. So if you have a regular 1977 nickel, it's got scratches and nicks, it's really only going to be worth its face value of 5 cents unless it has errors. Now if it doesn't have the nicks and it's a high graded coin, then of course then it could sell for more money. So high grades, errors, that's what you want to look for. Moving on to another nickel from 1977 that sold on eBay as is. It hasn't been graded, but it has been struck off center, and this coin sold for a little over $20. Now here's a couple nickels that have been struck on a Lincoln penny. So a 1 cent planchet, 1977. You can see the coloration of the coin. It gives that copper color like a penny. And you can see the design of the Lincoln Memorial going through Jefferson's head and face there. And then here on the reverse, we see that error taking place as well. Now this coin here sold for a little over $300. And then same thing with this coin. This one's really cool because if we zoom in here on Jefferson's face, you can actually see the word or part of the word Liberty from the Lincoln penny, which is really cool. I like that. It is a double denomination, of course, a nickel struck on a 1 cent coin. And then we can see that error again taking place here on the reverse of this coin. So this nickel from 1977 sold for over $800. Now for the 1977 S mint mark, San Francisco mint, of course they're going to make a lot less of those because they are the proof coins. Now this coin is graded at a perfect grade by PCGS, a proof 70. Deep cameo. Now 70, like I said, is the highest that you can go on the coin grading scale. So it is graded at a perfect grade. This coin sold for over $1,800. So an $1,800 nickel. Now check out these other Jefferson nickels that are worth money that you should always be on the lookout for. Is a very interesting coin. Definitely want to pay attention to this because this is important on the 1975 nickel. Now the 1975 Denver minted nickel, this picture here is just an example of the 1975 nickel. Let's move on to this example here. Now if we look at the left side of the coin where it says "In God We Trust," you will see a little cud there. So on this coin you have a cud, which I have found these in circulation before coin roll hunting, but that's not the only thing that makes this coin valuable. Now this has what is called a misplaced high mint mark. So it is very close to the 5. If we zoom in there, that mint mark is not supposed to be like that. If we look back at the first image, you will see how far the mint mark is down. That is where the mint mark is supposed to be placed on the 1975 D. Now, we go back to that image and you can see again how close that D and how high that D is. Like I said, close to that 5 there. So very awesome nickel. This nickel sold for over $1,100. So always be looking out for that D mint mark on the 1975 because you could have a valuable nickel. Next up is a 1983 Jefferson nickel. Now this nickel has a die clash taking place on it. You can see here on the front of the quarter, the reverse coming through there, and then on the reverse of the quarter, the outline of Jefferson's head there from the front design of the nickel. So that's pretty cool error. Now this nickel here sold for over $325. Oh yeah, next up I just want to throw this in here. These were sold on eBay. They are 2009 Philadelphia and Denver minted Jefferson Nickels. So if you guys go to the bank and get rolls of nickels and you guys come across a whole roll of 2009s, they definitely do sell on eBay. Now these two rolls sold for over $150. Don't believe me? Go to eBay, check out sold listings, and you guys will see these on there. 2009 rolls of nickels. Now that's only $4 worth of nickels and they sold for over $150. Next up is a 2014 Jefferson nickel. Now you can see there in the image displayed the error taking place on the coin. It is an elliptical clip and it looks like maybe a broad strike as well. Now you can see that the whole design doesn't fit there on the reverse of the quarter. United States is kind of getting cut off there. So very cool error. Simple to look for in your pocket change. You don't need a USB microscope to find anything like this. This nickel sold for over $100. Next up, probably one of my favorites of this video. This is a 2015 Philadelphia minted Jefferson nickel. Now pretty cool. It's been struck through some type of scrap and you can see that taking place there on the reverse of the nickel. Now this is pretty cool, guys. This nickel sold for over $1,000. Moving right along to a 2017 Philadelphia minted Jefferson nickel. Now you can see that this was actually struck on a dime. If we zoom in there close, you can see the word Liberty there on the right hand side of the coin. And if we go to the reverse of the coin, you can really see at the top one dime there to the right and to the top right of the building there. You can see dime, which is awesome. I love this nickel. Man, I would love to find something like this myself and pocket change. This nickel here sold for over $3,800. $3,800. Could you imagine finding something like that in a coin roll? Now this is valuable because it was actually struck on a Philippines 25-cent planchet. Now here is what a Philippines 25-cent planchet would look like in 1971. So obviously the United States was producing those coins for the Philippines and somehow a Jefferson nickel design got struck on one of those coins. Now it doesn't make it extremely valuable, but you're only talking 5 cents and it sold for over $180. Pretty good profit in my book. Next up is a 1942 Denver minted Jefferson nickel. Now this one's interesting. It actually has a D mint mark over a horizontal D mint mark. So a little confusing, I know. But here's an image of that type of error taking place on a Jefferson nickel. Now this Jefferson nickel here sold for over $125. Next up is a 1964 nickel. Now this was double struck with the broad struck there. So you can clearly see that error taking place on the whole nickel there. Both on the obverse and the reverse of the coin, the front and back of the coin. And this coin here sold for over $500. Next up is a 1940 Denver minted Jefferson nickel. Now this is a coin error that we have talked about numerous times, so if you haven't seen any of my nickel videos, go to my playlist on my channel. I go more in the depth on some of those videos about double dies and show you guys examples of what to actually look for. This is a double die reverse, meaning that there is doubling taking place on the back of the coin. So like I said, get you a cheap little coin microscope, look at the back of the coin very closely, and search for doubling on the lettering and all that on the back of this nickel. So this coin here sold for over $115. Now for all you coin collectors out there, this is pretty cool. I really like this because Tons of people have bought these mint sets to add to their collection throughout the years. A lot of them not so valuable, some of them can be valuable. This is a 1974 Jefferson nickel struck over a 1973. You can see there it is in the mint set, and that will give it a lot of value. This mint set of coins here sold for over $2,100. Just because of that nickel error. Next up is a 1959 Jefferson nickel that was actually struck on a dime. So obviously the whole nickel design does not fit on there because it's on a dime planchet, and that's why this coin sold for over $250. Moving on to a 1971, I really like this type of error. These are like coins that I would love to just add to my collection just because they're so unique and interesting looking. So this is double struck with the second strike being 35% off center, and that's why this nickel here sold for over $400. Next up, instead of being struck on a dime, this one was actually struck on a penny. So struck on a 1-cent planchet. Now obviously you can see that in the color there because of the copper. And this 1956 nickel sold for over $450. Moving on to a no date Jefferson nickel. Now, probably not going to find something like this in pocket change. If you do, I would be surprised. So this is a struck through and blockage error taking place here. Obviously, there's no obverse of the coin. You can see that there in the picture displayed. You would think this thing would be a little bit more valuable just because of how extreme the error is. However, it only sold for a little over $90. But not bad, 5 cents and 90 bucks. I will take it any day. Next up is a 1964 Jefferson nickel struck through a retained coil. Now this is a very interesting error. This is unique as well, and I would like to have something like this in the collection. I don't go too much for like extremely valuable coins or like go out of my way to purchase. I just search through coins in hopes of finding things like this because this would be an amazing find. So you can see the coil there on the reverse of the nickel, and that's why this nickel sold for over $550. Don't forget to subscribe in the middle. Check out the videos to the left of me, and until tomorrow, I will see you all in the comment section below. This is Couch Collectibles, and this is where I disappear.